In the Pits is partnered with QBR. Founded in 2021 and based here in Texas, QBR seeks to elevate the cannabinoid industry to a new standard of professionalism and education, while also providing the highest quality product. Whether you are seeking to heal and recover from the toll that paintball puts on the mind and body, or even looking for investment opportunities through adult vending machines, QBR has the solution for you. Head to QBRofficial.com to browse their selection. QBR, they don't sell broccoli. In the Pits is partnered with 71 Designs, owned and operated by veteran Wade Martin, and partnered with fellow Texas brand Compete. 71 Designs can take your ideas for soft goods, merchandise, and casual wear and make them a reality. Message 71 Designs on Facebook or Instagram to get started today. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these Golden Eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of Paintball Fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with TexanHemp.com, locally shipped cannabis seeds. In a world where saving time means making money, TexanHemp.com, a local cannabis seed bank owned and operated by local Texas pro player Jared Sherman, is making waves by becoming the go-to source for all cannabis genetics in Texas. Carrying a large assortment of cannabis cultivars, including Texas-approved varieties for use in the Texas Hemp Program, high THCA seeds for novelty use, as well as premium genetics bred for solventless extraction, TexanHemp.com has the ability to satisfy even the most sophisticated collectors. Head to TexanHemp.com and use code INTHEPITS for 10% off of your orders. In the Pits is partnered with Pod Runners Union. Pod Runners Union breaking news. Super limited Union Tech tees and, for the first time, Fiesta medals are available online at podrunnersunion.org. Use offer code PITS for 10% off of your order. Stealing pods for undeserving teams. It's a living. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot is now accepting bookings for the upcoming NXL Mid-Atlantic Major and will also be offering drone footage for the first time. Head to GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to secure your media coverage today. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 109 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week, we'll have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and new special guest. I'm Christian Dallas Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans, and this episode, we are going in the pits with Jon Trevino, player for Jackpot. Jon, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good.
Good to hear. How are you guys? I know we've got USXBL coming up here in a second. Are you guys feeling like you're ready for it? I know you've been hard at work on the field.
Yeah, I mean, we work every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, just putting in that work and just getting ready.
Yep, and now here we are. I mean, obviously, you guys are the back-to-back champions in USXBL, so you've got, going for the three-peat here, and it's gonna be a tough one for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, especially with our bracket, which released earlier today. It's definitely not playing us any favors at all.
Not at all. They put all the top teams in one bracket, so it's going to be definitely a grind. I know you're in there with us, so I know you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they got us, y'all, Grit, all three, of course, X Factor, D3 teams are in the same bracket, so it's going to be, I feel like those matches especially are going to be just a little bit extra to play for.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. So this first question is brought to us by XTPL Event. So for those listening that maybe don't know about you, how long have you been involved in the Texas paintball scene?
I started playing paintball, like a lot of us when I was a teenager. Didn't play really competitive, just did rec ball. I've been playing competitive for only 3 years, though.
And not a lot of time, but feels like you've definitely done a lot in that short time.
Yeah, played a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, so what teams have you played for over those short 3 years?
So when I started playing paintball here at X Factor, I was recruited by Caesar with the Innocent Bystanders. And then from there, we kind of branched off and started the Gunners. And here I am with Jackpot, 2 years going.
And start of your third year, or I guess halfway through your third year now, and you're already like going to be D2 next year. It's crazy how fast you've made that climb.
Yeah. I mean, it was a grind. I definitely had to put in the work, though, to get to where I'm at.
For sure. Yeah. Looks like in the chat here, we got Doc and Lawson and Eddie are all here in the chat. Just hanging out. What's up, guys? If you got any questions, get them in there. We'll ask them throughout the show. So this question is brought to us by QBRofficial.com. So tell us, what was it that got you into paintball to begin with?
Honestly, it was just something to do. For the competitive side, I was just getting older, nothing really to do. I just went and bought a paintball gun, reached out to Caesar, met a bunch of group of guys, and just started playing, and I just fell in love with it. I just love the competitive, keeps you in shape, keeps me out of trouble too, to be honest. So it's just good.
So had you been exposed to paintball at all before that, or you just like on a whim, you saw a paintball gun, you decided to buy it and try it out?
Well, I got my first paintball gun when I was 13. It was 98 custom. It was fun, playing at paintball nights, shooting people, having a blast. But just literally on a whim, 2022, I just went to Bandera Paintball and bought a 170 and just took off from there.
And just cold turkey. I like it. And I mean, especially at that time, like kind of we're in the middle of the pandemic and, restrictions are kind of on and off there. But and just like diving in after, I'm sure it was like, hey, I got to do something, just sitting around watching Netflix all day is not doing it anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
So this next one's brought to us by Sasha, Pod Runners Union. So you've only been playing tournaments for 3 years, but you already have played 33 events on your APPA, and this upcoming weekend is going to make number 34. So how has it been to dive in head first and play so many events so quickly?
It was definitely rough. I got a family of 5 kids, so I was always gone, always traveling, playing and guessing on multiple teams. It was definitely hard, and it's definitely a burn in the wallet for sure. But I mean, when you love something that much, you just gotta strive at it, work at it, and just keep going.
And that's and especially with like your family, that's just makes the commitment level all that much more meaningful there. And it's cool that you're able to be as successful as you are and put in all of that work with all that. So let's see here in the chat. Looks like P Man's joining us as well. Lawson says the cutest. Eddie says agreed. Look at those eyes. Guys, all right. So this you were first brought in to the competitive side of paintball under Innocent Bystanders, which at that time in 2022 was one of the largest, if not the largest, divisional program in Texas. So what did you feel like were either some advantages or disadvantages of being a part of such a large program?
I mean, the advantages were, I mean, starting off at D5, never playing competitive, didn't really know how to like shoot with my left, didn't know like any of the rules. With a camp that big, it was good because a lot of the more seasoned guys would, put in the work, help out with the lower divisional guys, and it really got the ball rolling for me because I really took it serious. Try to learn as much as I could, as fast as I could, and then we just kept going.
Yeah, it's I know for the Titans, like our camp is not as big this year. We've only got kind of the 2 or 3 lines there. But in those years when we've had 3 or 4, it felt like at least for our new guys, like our new D5 guys, bringing them in for the first time that year, that we were able to kind of help trickle down the knowledge a lot faster for those guys. But at the same time, like if you're one of the guys on the bottom, then that usually means you're practicing against D4, D3 players as a D5 person, and you kind of learn more or less the hard way pretty quickly.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember, Matt Moore, Aaron Spooner, Chris Hernandez, even Ed, always just putting it on me. And I thought those guys were, the top players out there. And I always wanted to try to suppress and go past their level. And that's really what I fought for, you know? So.
Yeah. Did you find that being a part of such a large program that it like was more welcoming in a way for newer individuals or?
Yes and no. I mean, with it being that big, there were some times when, players would come out that I've never seen before and supposedly they were there for a long time. So, I mean, it definitely had like its advantages and disadvantages because sometimes, with being new, some of the more seasoned guys, didn't like pick on the D5 guys, but definitely gave us like a hard time.
Mhm. Yeah, especially with I think y'all had what like 4 or 5 lines at one point. It can definitely get a lot to manage.
Yeah, I think they had 2 D4 lines, 2 or 3 D5 lines. Like it was a lot.
Definitely. So, this next question is brought to us by BEMRAP. So, in April of last year, you started playing with Jackpot, which at the time they were brand new. Matt and Cameron Blanco were both brand new to the scene. So, what was it that attracted you to joining their camp?
So I remember them playing D5. I was coaching pressure at the time with Aaron Spooner, trying to get those guys rolling in D5. Um, I met Matt Blanco and Cameron, and just like that bond that they had, and seeing that they wanted to go far and they had that hunger. That's what kind of attracted me to them. And I remember, I forgot what booth I was at. Matt just randomly approached me and was like, "Hey man, I heard you play D4 and that you're a pretty good guy. What do you think about playing tomorrow?" And I was all, you know what? I'm not doing anything. My guys aren't playing, so let's run it. And from there, the way that Matt and Cameron they present themselves and they hold themselves, I knew that they were going to go far in this sport. So I tried to stick with them in the beginning. I didn't play the second USXBL with them or even NXL Texas, but I was still playing for my team, the Gunners. And once he reached out to me to play the third event, I hopped on it and I never looked back.
Yeah, and I know like they jumped like right in. They were still like I think they had maybe one event, maybe like one 3-man or one 5-man under their belts, and they're jumping right into D4 USXBL, which is and like D4 in Texas is not D4.
It's
It's
not. It's very competitive.
and for
It's one
them to
just
do
to get
that,
out.
yeah, for them to do that with their like first or second event is definitely a huge undertaking, and I think like it's impressive that they stuck with it. They didn't say, "Oh, we're going to bump down to D5. We're going to take it, a little bit slower, maybe a little bit easier of a road." No, they just stuck with D4, and by the end of the year, they were, they were at the top.
Mhm. Yeah, totally agree. They just jumped in the deep end, and it was sink or swim for them, and we definitely held it down. So
For sure. So this one's brought to us by Mariachi Águilas de Oro. So you've only played for IB, and then when the Gunner split off, you played for them, and then for Jackpot during your time as a player, both of which usually worked with some very experienced coaches like Jesse Stevens and Jeremy Zimmerman. So how do you feel your growth as a player was impacted by working with those guys?
So where I'm at today, I owe everything to Jesse Stevens. From the first time I stepped on the field with innocent bystanders, he was there mentoring, coaching me. He even let me use his equipment when my gun went down. I owe everything to Jesse Stevens from where I'm at right now. I go to clinics with him Wednesdays and Thursdays. We talk on the phone at least 3 times a week just about what I can do to get better. Um, Besides that, though, I mean, Jeremy's a great coach. When it comes down to breaking down plays, field, everything like that, there's no comparison for Jeremy Zimmerman. But the player that I am today, I owe it to Jesse for sure.
Yeah, Jesse's been out there a lot with you guys. Do you also go out during the week with him still, or?
I do, I do. I do have a full time job, so it's a little hard to get out there. But when I can, I definitely go out on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, for sure. Jesse's been huge with helping these guys like whoever truly wants to put in the work, he's definitely made himself available for those guys to help get better very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he works with the D5 gunners, and those guys didn't know left from right, and they're number one right now in the USXBL. So, and they're also number one in the NXL. He's done a lot of work with those guys, and he's just an overall great coach, great mentor.
Yeah, definitely. And also like with Jeremy Zimmerman, he's been doing this for a long time. I remember when I played my first X-Ball event, I I was lucky enough to get Jeremy as a coach, and like just the way that he's able to explain things for those newer players, but also like use his experience to still remember like exactly what it was like when he was there, learning the game for the first time. There's a reason that he's at the top whenever he coaches a team most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a great coach. There's no doubt about that. And if he's coaching your team, you're going to be great. So
For sure. So everybody in the chat here, if you got any questions for Jon, go ahead and get them in there. We'll get to them throughout. Yeah, Paintball Lounge says Jesse is the GOAT, Louisiana homeboy. I know Paintball Lounge, they're local Louisiana. Yeah, definitely. Jesse's been fantastic for everybody around here, and he's a great player in his own right as well. So this next one's brought to us by Colt Roberts, Paintball Kumite. So Jackpot went from being a brand new program at the start of last year to jumping straight to D4. They ended up winning the NXL Windy City Major, NXL World Cup, and the NXL D4 Series, which were also your first 2 wins as a player. So what were those experiences like to get your wins on the main stage?
So, I mean, I gotta kind of take it back to the Mid Atlantic. We had gotten third at Mid Atlantic, so that was my first time just ever podiuming, and being on that podium on the national level. I mean, it was breathtaking, and we all got back home, and we knew that when we were going to go to Chicago, we knew we wanted that gold, and we put in the work, time and day. We went up to Paintball Fit, got to scrimmage with those guys and the Shut Up You're Trying. Back then they were D2, and we fought hard, sweat, blood, everything. And when we finally got it, it was just, that's something that, you play these events now and you don't, making Sundays just not enough. You want to walk home with the gold every single time. I mean, we've been fortunate enough this year to walk away back to back at USXBL, but we got to get that Windy City gold for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys were also one of the 4 teams last year to get the buy-in to the Champions Cup, which for anybody who's not aware of how the NXL has kind of changed their system, like the top 4 teams heading into World Cup essentially get a bye into the quarterfinals, which in Division 4, where there's almost 100 teams, that's like skipping 3 rounds of playoffs. So how was that, like, just having kind of that load taken off of your shoulders heading into Cup?
I mean, it did take a lot of load off knowing that we're going straight into like the quarterfinals. We do have to play prelim games for seeding, which, to be honest, we didn't do too hot. But knowing that we already made it to quarters in our prelims, what we did was we just tried to try not dumb plays, but plays that we would push as aggressive as we possibly could to see if they would work. That was our chance to try something that we weren't going to try. And we knew what did work, what didn't work. And we literally, at our Airbnb, we had what we called the war room. It was a room upstairs with a big whiteboard. And we sat up there for at least 3 hours, breaking everything down. It was like going to school. Jeremy was the principal, and we had to break everything down. We had our game plan set. And when Sunday came, we executed it and walked away.
That's a good strategy there to like basically have that opportunity to be able to try things without it being like super consequential. Like, yeah, your quarterfinals game might be a little bit harder. Like you're playing the 6 seed instead of the 8 seed or whatever. But like ultimately any of those 4 teams that have fought through 3 rounds of playoffs, like they're all going to be tough. So it's cool that you were able to use your time very effectively in those prelim games.
Yeah, it definitely worked.
So this next one is brought to us by 71 Designs. So there's kind of been a fan following, at least here in Texas, following the career of young Cameron Blanco, who like the storyline there, he's playing alongside his dad. And, you've got the photo from World Cup of Matt holding him up after the big win. Cameron getting the MVP award. But also he has been selected to play on Team USA's U16 team this year, and he's only 13 years old. So what's it like playing alongside Cameron, who I think like everybody who's paying attention can agree that he is destined for some great things in paintball if he decides that's the path he wants to go down?
It's like watching a movie, to be honest. You have somebody who's 13 years old, like you said. He's super smart. He's very caring. And the work that this kid puts in is just unbelievable. He's competing in a D3 level with guys that are 2 times his age, that are faster, stronger, more experienced, and he's holding his own. And to be honest, I mean, Cameron's going to be the future of Texas paintball. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree with that. That kid is going to probably be the youngest pro coming out of Texas.
Definitely. I think there's like very few people that don't think that he'll already be pro by the time he's 18. I bet he could get it done by 16.
That's what
Yeah. And like he's been playing tournaments for 1.5 years, and he's won 2 Division 3 events already, won an NXL World Cup, won an NXL series. Like the kid's just going through all of these check boxes at like lightning pace.
It's crazy.
For sure.
He loves the sport, so I mean, as long as he sticks with it, he's gonna get there.
Definitely. So this next one's brought to us by Jared Sherman, TexanHemp.com. So for other teams and players that are out there listening, what's one bit of advice that you can give them to try and have the fast success that you and Jackpot have had so far?
To be successful in paintball, you really need to just work on the fundamentals. Even playing D3, it always comes down to why we mess up, why we lose. It comes down to like the little things. Like communication can easily lose a match. All I can say is just always practice the fundamentals. Don't ever think that just because you're D4, D3, when someone's trying to teach you just the basics and the fundamentals, it's always going to fall back to that. And, to to compete and to win, you have to put in the work. Sometimes, I understand people have lives, stuff like that, but it's a competitive sport. It's just like every other sport. You don't practice, you don't get better. Um, so for the teams that are, coming on, the younger guys, the D5 guys that, want to get there and be successful, you have to put in the work. There's no way around it. You can't cheat paintball. You have to do drills. You have to practice. You have to do everything you possibly can to be great.
Definitely. I think I remember hearing this from Jeremy Zimmerman a while back, and like the way he phrased it was, how long do you want this to take? Do you want this to, like, do you want to start winning events like this year? Do you want to start winning events this upcoming event? Then you've got to put in a lot of time on the field. And whether that, those however many thousands of hours takes you 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, like that's how much experience is required to have the success at these levels. So like how long do you want it to take? Is essentially how we phrased it.
I don't know. I want to get to the highest level I possibly can as fast as I can. So, literally in my life, it's work, my family, and paintball. I don't do anything else. I don't worry about anything else. I'm constantly watching footage. So, if you want to get there quick, I really don't know how to answer that one.
I mean, look at the roadmap for your career. Like you've been playing tournaments for what, 2.5 years at this point, and you're about to play event number 34. So that's a ton of time, not just like on the field at practice, but also like in these like competition scenarios that you've put yourself in. So that's definitely a way to accelerate your growth, is just to play a lot of paintball.
Yeah, especially tournaments. There's nothing wrong with playing a lot of tournaments. That's where everybody's going to play their hardest. You can be a weekend warrior all you want, but when you actually putting in the time to go to the actual tournaments, whether it's your local tournament, you're traveling, you're guessing on other teams, there's never anything better than tournament experience. So,
Definitely. There's some scenarios that you will never see in practice, and like the level of intensity just, and like the ability to stay calm in certain situations, especially like low clock and you've got to go make a play, then like it really is, experience trumps everything on the field.
yeah, exactly. I've been in that scenario plenty of times where, it's you either walk away with a tie or you go for a 20-second point. And I've gotten it. Sometimes I haven't. So
Yeah, definitely. So let's see. This next one is brought to us by FU Athletics. So throughout all of your career so far, do you have a single favorite moment?
yeah, definitely. Winning World Cup and being the MVP for World Cup and having getting that trust and that respect from my fellow teammates and my coaches, and for them to choose me as the MVP for World Cup, that's definitely like my favorite, like my most favorite moment in paintball so far. It's World Cup, it's the it's national, it's the World Cup.
Yep, can't do any better than that, than being like the number one team in the world at the end of the year. And that's a must have been an amazing feeling, and we'll see how many more times in your career that you're able to get that, because I think that's going to be the first of several.
Yeah, it's definitely a good feeling when you're the MVP. I can tell you that.
For sure. Yep. I've gotten one, not nearly as important as NXL World Cup, but man, that feeling was like anything unlike anything else that I've experienced in paintball.
Yeah, it's a great
So,
feeling.
oh yeah. So let's see. We're getting towards the end of our show. So anybody in the chat, you got any questions? Last chance. This next question is brought to us by Hydra. So this weekend, just a few days from now, is the USXBL Violence Open, which is going to be held at X Factor. So you guys have continued the streak of last year's success. You've got back-to-back wins in USXBL's Elite Division, and you're currently the defending champ. So what can we expect out of Jackpot this weekend?
I mean, you're gonna expect us to make Sunday and walk away with the gold. I mean, we're not gonna settle for anything less. There's no way. I mean, that's just who we are. And when it comes to tournaments, we're a totally different team. The hunger's there, trust me. So, I mean, for the teams that have to play against us, I mean, it's definitely going to be a fight for them because we're not going to give it away just easy.
Yep, and we wouldn't expect anything less out of you guys. Do you have any predictions that you'd like to put out there for? I mean, obviously, you guys taking home everything, but I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at any brackets or any of the other divisions or anything like that.
I mean, whatever happens, especially in the elite division, our bracket is definitely going to be the winner. So whoever makes Sunday out of our bracket, it's a 50-50 shot that whoever's going to walk away with the gold. I mean, it's hands down. Our bracket holds 4 of the top teams in that division. So, my prediction is us, but I mean, it's definitely going to be somebody from our bracket walking away with the gold. I don't really follow the Division 4, to be honest. Half those teams come and go. I'm really hoping my boys in the D5 though, and the Gunners, they can come back with a win. I know they had an unfortunate incident last event, but I think my boys are going to take the gold here in D5 for sure, though.
Yeah, they've definitely been putting in the work, and I think that they're the number 1 seed for a reason, for sure. And I mean, as far as like the elite division, like you've got you guys with 2 gold medals so far this year. You've got Grit, who's a former semi-pro team that are coming back into the fold. Like, granted, it's been a few years, but like those guys were semi-pro for a reason. And then you've got the Titans, who, this is our first time going into USXBL this year. But
guys got back. I mean, you guys won Texas. You guys got second in Vegas. You guys aren't a walk in the park either. So, I mean, it's really anybody's game, but I still stand by what I said. I mean, the winner's going to come out of our bracket for sure. Like,
definitely. Like, if the season were to end today, we would be D2. Like, both of our teams would be Division 2. Mm-hmm. And the only other team that you can say that about is the Beefy Boys over in the other bracket. And then, of course, Grit is like a former semi-pro team. So it's like all of this experience and all of this success just seem to have come to bracket A for whatever reason. So,
yeah, I don't know what Mike or what happened there, but he wants to see a good show. So, I mean, let's just keep it clean and let's give it to him. So,
oh yeah, we'll put on a show for him, and I think our first game of the event is going to be against each other. So
that's right. A25.
Yep, it'll be an exciting one. And let me see when you guys, you've got Grit in your 3rd game.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun one for sure. Like, just if you're tuning in this weekend, you're not like playing, or if you happen to have extra time, definitely watch those games, because they're going to be fun no matter what happens.
No.
Here in the chat, let's see. Vic Abarca from Demo, he says paintball in the rain sounds fun this weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be wet. That is for sure.
At least it's not going to be 110.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no 160-degree turf. I'm fine with that. I've got enough rain lids and visors. I'm cool with it. So.
Yeah, and I think we're going to play on the new field, so it's going to be a lot of sliding around.
We'll see. And then let's see here in the chat, John, how do you feel about that one handsome, best smelling 6'4" up and coming player, Nicholas McKenna?
I mean, Nicholas McKenna is like my stepson. I'm very proud of him. I know he got MVP, and I want to say it was Texas. He's definitely put in a lot of work, so I'm very proud of him, and can't wait to see him keep climbing the ladder.
For sure. And in the chat, see Corey is also calling for Gunners to get gold in D5. So, I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's the 3rd event of the year, but Gunners definitely are favorites going into that for sure. All right, so I think we're getting to the end here. So this question is one that I ask everybody that comes on the show just to help get the word out on anybody flying under the radar. Message him, get_shot on Facebook or Instagram if you're needing media coverage this weekend. He has his drone license now, so if you want drone footage, that's something he can offer. So, Jon, is there anybody in Texas, either teams, players, brands, projects, community members that have caught your attention lately? Who do you think deserves more recognition for what they're doing?
So there's a new player. He's fairly new. He's never really played paintball, and the kid's a dog. I mean, he's gonna be climbing really quick, and that's Garrett. He's the snake one on the gunners, and that kid is a straight animal. I've never seen somebody get up the snake that fast, and I think he's very under the radar. Nobody really knows who he is, but they definitely need to keep an eye on that guy because he's gonna make himself known pretty quick.
All right, shout out to Garrett. Yeah. One more shout out I want to give is to Sasha, just because he's been helping X Factor as a whole. He's putting up all these new layouts like every other week at the field, just keeping things fresh, making sure we're playing a huge variety of things. And I think that's been an underappreciated thing this year as far as all of these X Factor teams having success in all of the leagues this year. So shout out to Sasha.
Yeah, I mean, the guy takes a lot of time to go out there, set up the fields on his days. Like in the middle of the day, he's out there building a new layout for us on the weekends. When there's a scrimmage, just like last weekend when we scrimmaged with you guys and the other teams, he took time out of his day to help with the speaker and the count and the timer, all that. I mean, he doesn't have to do that stuff, and it's really underappreciated that nobody ever, just thanks him. So I would like to thank Sasha for doing stuff like that, and it is really appreciated for sure.
Definitely. I mean, we saw how busy X Factor has been the last few weeks. Like all of these teams from out of town, from Houston, from Austin, from the Valley, like they're coming in to play at X Factor, and it's gotten really organized as well. Like with Sasha running the buzzers, making these schedules, which we haven't really seen. Like that's not something that you see, especially at like this low division level. But yeah, it's organized. Everybody's getting a ton out of these situations. Like we're doing what the pros are doing now. We're playing 6-minute matches against each other, playing 3 different sets. Like it's a lot of that is because Sasha's willing to like put the gun down and help run things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that just about does it. Let's see. Lawson says in the chat that it says the violence field for us. I don't know which field the violence field is. We'll see. I was under the impression that we would be on like field 2, but I think they're also going to be releasing a like an event map either tonight or tomorrow. So we'll see we'll see what everything ends up being. All right. So. Yeah, I think that just about does it for our show. Looking at the chat, no more questions in there. So yeah, Jon, this final question is brought to us by Compete, which is Jell Stewart's brand. Message him on Facebook or Instagram. Mention In the Pits for 10% off of your order of soft goods. So thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, I'm good. I appreciate you inviting me to the show, though. That was really great, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Been trying to, feature Jackpot a little bit more. Like I know I've been reaching out to like Matt for a while. It seems very difficult to be able to get him free for an evening, but yeah, Jackpot's been doing some really cool things.
Yeah, I would love to see Cameron on here. I mean, the paintball world knows who he is. Let's get him on here somehow.
For sure. All right. Do you have any like team sponsors that you'd like to shout out?
So we really don't have many sponsors. I know Evil helps us out, Paintball Fit, X Factor. But other than that, we don't have sponsors. We just, it's just us.
All right. Well, if you're a sponsor listening, go lock these guys down.
Yeah.
So I think that does it for our show. So Jon, thank you for your time. Everybody tuning in, thank you so much. Be sure to go follow Jon at jon.trevino90 on Instagram. So what other guests would you like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast, and recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. I'm going to give a shout out to my partner and sponsor tier subscribers on Patreon: FU Athletics, Get That Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, BEM Hydra, XTPL Events, Mariachi Aguilas de Oro, Podrunners Union, 71 Designs, TexanHemp.com, and QBRofficial.com. We will see you guys next week for episode 110. Good luck this weekend to you guys, John. Bless the knees, bless the ankles. Hope everybody gets out of this weekend, this wet weekend, injury free, and we get some really good paintball.
Yeah, man. Well, good luck, Christian. I'll see you this weekend, bud.
Yes, sir. All right. We'll see you then. Everybody else online, thank you so much. See you next week.